Hello, everyone. This is Jamila with Epic Entourage. I'm here with Logan Taylor and Dante Hampton. They are the founders of YB Normal. It's a hybrid company. You guys do community relations, public speaking, motivation. So, what else are you all involved in?
Well, we're a hybrid company, so what that means is that we're for-profit and non-profit as well. Our focus right now is just the non-profit side and everything that we're doing. Just trying to build the brand up, trying to build our community up, in everything that we do, as far as like our community outreach that we do, as well as we do mentoring. And we're actually we do mentoring. Dante does mentoring as well. He does mentoring outside of just what we do.
Okay.
And so working on that and just trying to build our nonprofit side and pouring back into our community daily, and also in an effective way as well.
Gotcha. It's definitely needed. You know, I was looking at some media coverage of the event you guys did, the Cut the Hate, the Share the Love event. And I noticed the name, and that's what kind of made me want to reach out to you guys, Why Be Normal, because I have never considered myself normal. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. I'm proud of me, honestly. You know, I think it's an advantage to not being like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? You know how when you were growing up, your mom would say, well, if your friends jump off a bridge, you're going to jump off too.
Absolutely.
You know? So I was kind of that way too. And I think that's why it's important to try to get other people who may have the same interest, want to go out in the community, spread a positive message. You know, we don't want to see the average negative connotation they have with the young people. There are people doing some good things in the community. So I want to just say I'm proud of you guys, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so
you
much.
guys are doing some great work. So what inspired you to start the organization?
Well, in 2015 of the summertime, I roughly say about July, we had, I think in 1 week, I think we had probably like 10, 15 shootings. And so in that process, I felt like people were screaming out for help. You know, they were looking for a light in a dark situation.
Yeah.
And so in the process of that, I just felt like that was my purpose. That's my calling. That's what God has called me to do, is to speak, to do community outreach, and to mentor, and then consult and everything else that we do as well. And so that's what got me started, was just seeing all those people that got shot and that died. It was because I knew majority of them, or I was friends with some of them, or we had a mutual friend or something like that, whether if it was like basketball or, just seeing them out in the neighborhood or something like that, because a lot of times sports brings a lot of us together. And that's how we know a lot of people. Like me and Dante, because of basketball, that's how we know each other.
Okay.
If it wasn't for basketball, we probably wouldn't have known each other. So I do know that sports, it brings us together, but you also got to understand that there's a bigger world than just the basketball or sports or football or whatever the case may be.
Right. But you can incorporate some of the techniques in everyday life that you do in sports. You know, sportsmanship plays a big role in life in general, I think, because you're going to be in situations where you have to work with a team of people. You gotta know how to communicate, just basic things, and listening. You gotta look at what the other players are doing. If they're doing something positive, follow that. If they made a mistake, take heed to that and try to do better. Learn from that. So I think that translates into a lot of different areas in life. Yeah. So what type of issues do you feel need to be addressed within the community that your organization can assist with?
I think the biggest issue that we deal with in the community is accountability, and nobody wants to take heed to what's going on. Nobody wants to break a cycle. For me, it was not growing up without a father. My mom in and out of jail, and you looking. I ain't gonna say you're looking for help, because my grandma was there. I had some cousins, and I had a few people in my life, but what people don't understand is Well, what we mean by support is you need somebody there who's daily and who can relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see that gaming brought a time, you know what I'm saying, that's what you relate to.
Sure.
And in a sense, they, you know, they're not bad people. They're just trying to do what helps them survive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so they didn't break that cycle because it was so toxic.
Mm.
So I figure if we reach in the community and they see we doing that, then you establish a relationship with them, and then the cycle could be unbroken. You know, you can create like a vaccine to where you can bandage up a lot of stuff. Because everybody's hurt, everybody's wounded, so everybody has their guard up.
I understand that.
And so if you make everybody become accountable and think for themselves and be consistent with it, then you'll probably get some results. And you will see that kid that instead of him going to rob somebody and have no food, he reaches out to an organization like YB Normal, or he reaches out to a mentor, and then mentor feeds him. So instead of him robbing somebody, he learns how to actually put a gun together, and who knows, he creates, you know what I'm saying, he grows up and he creates something for the army. Or instead of him shooting a gun, he goes to the army, or he becomes a sniper, you know, or he becomes an electrician or something. He works on cars. Because people don't understand, like, a lot of kids, they don't just use pistols and weapons, just they use it because they're curious. So think about it, if I had a semi-automatic and the kid seen it, what would he do? Oh, how you do that? What's that? And if I was able to actually break down what this is and what it's for and why you use it, he would probably think twice before he used it in the wrong way.
Right. Okay. So it's about having access to
resources.
Resources, exactly.
And then once you got somebody with some resources, then you can hold yourself accountable. Because if you don't have no resources, then you're going to do whatever it takes to survive.
Sure.
Because if we, let's just say, you take all of us out right now and you throw us in the forest somewhere, you have no resources.
True.
So if we never have any resource, sooner or later the three of us are going to look at each other and we're going to end up killing him, or I'm going to try and get something from you.
Yeah.
Because I don't have anything.
Right. So it's about making positive things more accessible.
Making it the norm.
Making it the norm.
Like, if I come out my house right now and I ain't got no food, I have somebody to call that's a resource. If I'm not feeling well or I'm being bullied, somebody's out there that can help me.
Right.
And that's not there.
Gotcha.
And I'll piggyback off what he's saying. As far as like accountability, a lot of times with the accountability, people don't want to be uncomfortable.
True.
A lot of times people like to just stay in their bubble and say, hey, you know, I'm not normal, I'm not doing what such and such is doing, you know, when in reality you actually are.
True.
Because you don't want to be embarrassed, you know, to be successful. You don't want to be uncomfortable and say, hey, Dante, I need help with such and such. You don't want to ask or things of that nature.
True.
All you want to simply do is just say, hey, you know what? I did this because of such and such, such and such. Or, hey, this happened because of this, this, and this, when you simply could have just reached out and asked somebody.
Right.
And so, you know, it's about being uncomfortable, you know. It's about being, like Dante said, that accountability and things of that nature as well.
Right. And that's the thing, too, because it's not normal to reach out for help.
Right, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's a stigma there if you're coming to somebody. I mean, you don't look as tough. You know what I'm saying? It's like you see your friends, they handling it. They might not be handling it the right way, but that's the way they know to handle it, so that you feel like you have to handle it that way too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, it's not normal for you to say, you know what, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it the right way, because it's going to continue the cycle if nobody reaches for help. You know, violence begets violence, you know. So, and what they say, hurt people.
Right.
So I think that's how the cycle continues. So, I mean, you guys are on to something there. What tips do you give others in the community who may want to have the same concerns, How can they contribute?
As far as
community involvement and trying to reach the younger generation.
there's a saying by somebody, I think it's Mother Teresa. She said, if you want to change the world, start with home first. And so if you want to change the community, you got to start with what's at home first if you want to change the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even if you don't have kids at home, change yourself first.
True.
You know, because the only person, you know, I tell people all the time that your competition is you.
Yeah.
It's nobody else.
Mm-hmm. You're
At
right.
the end of the day, it's you. Because when you look in the mirror, it's not a million people around you. It's just you.
Exactly.
And so if they want to get involved or they want to just go out and do it. That's what we did, you know.
Right.
I mean, of course, people told us, hey, nah, y'all can't do that, or nah, you shouldn't do that. But it's like, I realized, why can't we? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
who are you to say that we can't do something?
Right. Well, you know, a lot of people feel like you have to be qualified, meaning you have to have 10 degrees, or you have to be a psychologist, or you have to, you know, otherwise you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think life is experience.
Absolutely.
You know, we all have a story. We've all been through things. We've all learned from those things, but it's about what you do with it. You know, you can say, I did this, but I decided to make this of the bad choices that I made.
Right.
And I don't want you to go through the same thing.
Right.
So why do you have, that doesn't require a degree to me, in my opinion. You know how you felt when you did it.
Right.
You knew the consequence of it when you did it.
Right.
You know, so that's what, I mean, it's the same thing a parent does. You know, they say, don't do that, you know, because they know what happened when they did it.
Absolutely.
You know, and I mean, they say learn things the hard way, but still, some things you don't have to. If somebody's there saying, look, if you go down this path, now you still have the choice. You know, there are always choices.
Absolutely.
But if you go down this path, this could be where it leads you.
Right.
You know, but that's up to you whether you want to do it or not. You can go see for yourself.
Right.
You can learn the hard way. What is that? I was watching something that said you can learn this we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Right.
You know, so what do you want? You know, so I feel where you're coming from with that. What things do you feel contribute to? So we talked about some of the contributions to the current status of the young people in our community, but what other factors do you think plays?
Factors that tend to play in that people don't understand now is self-confidence, and the thing is now, and I learned because I play ball at UTC, and so coming from high school to going in there, you're not used to no media coverage. And what I mean by that is you got to learn to live in a fishbowl. So I can reach into it, I can touch that, but I can also see what's going on through that entire tank. And so you learn you got to carry yourself a certain way. And with social media now, a lot of times what factors in is social media is so big that you can pretend to be somebody you're not. And so if you mentally get caught up in social media, you will be lost. And a lot of times that's what most kids are lost right now. So if I see that rapper out there, I see this on social media, then I all of a sudden believe something. Or I can just post something that I know is stupid, but it gets 1 million shares, then I all of a sudden turn into a character. That's how you get people who create just random stuff. You get people doing the crazy challenge, fire challenge. Like I seen a kid, he was lighting like a tennis ball, and he was counting how fast he can throw it in the air while it's on fire and catch it and hold it. And got like 10 million shares.
Yeah.
And so if you see that, and then you got to keep in mind also now, because you get paid for that. So if I'm mentally already...
But you know what? You got more influence being normal than you do. Why not go viral with doing something different?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Let's make this viral. What can we do?
Exactly.
I bust out in the song.
So
yeah, I got one. Yeah. So yeah, I know what you mean.
So you got a lot of stuff like social media, you know, and then you also, sad to say, you got a lot of parents, you know, who just they didn't know. You got kids raising kids. Like I'm coaching, and you talking, and the parent looking at you crazy, but they don't realize like me and you are almost same age. Like you're 32, I'm 27. It's a 5-year gap. And while you out clubbing or you out doing something, your child need to ride to practice at Saturday at 10 a.m. when you can't take them because you intoxicated.
Okay, so why do you think people are scared of change?
I think people are scared of change because it's something new. I also think people are scared of change because we're complacent mentally. I can admit I was complacent at one point. When I first got my job, I'm a logistic people, so they going down. Everybody asks you questions, you answering. And so he the last one, and I didn't know he was the president at the time or whatever. He was just like, so if you could be an animal, what would you be? And I was like, I'd probably be a lion because I'd rather kill than be killed. And he was just like, and so everybody left, and then he was like, I want you to stay. And he was like, you hired. And he was like, but I want you to know this the mentality that you say you have, because everybody else in here wasn't gonna hire you. And so, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that makes you realize, okay, you know, you can't be afraid of change. You know, you gotta embrace it.
Exactly.
And I didn't want to do that. You know, I was coming off an ACL injury. I had some chance to go overseas, but I figured my brother and my mom needed me at that time. So I turned that down to get a job and, you know, do something different. You know, because anybody can go be a basketball player. Like I tell people all the time, anybody can go be a star playing basketball. Like, you can go play overseas, but, you know what I'm saying, it's harder for you to actually try and make it in society and have let's say, a decent job and take care of your family. Like I look at people like, I have friends who are overseas and they make $300,000, $400,000, and they be more stressed than me. And they have more money than me, but in reality they don't.
They don't have more value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get lost like that. And so I think that's what happens with change is people are afraid of it because they're afraid of the unknown.
That's true. You can't run from the unknown. So what is your take on change and how do we manage it?
That's a good question. How we manage it is you just take it, it's kind of like a baby walking. Before you walk, you got to learn how to crawl. And then before you crawl, I mean, you got your parents picking you up and holding you until you're able to start crawling and doing things on your own, and then you start walking. Then after you start walking for a little while, now you start running. And so I think in the process of, you know, finding everything and who you are, you know, and what you may do or what you may not do, in the process of trying to change everything is just take it a step at a time. Don't try to take these large leaps and bounds because you're gonna end up failing. You're gonna end up tripping yourself up, you know. And so I believe that, you know, just take small chunks, you know, get those small 3 to 6 months goals and work on those. Then if you accomplish those, you know, do those 6 to 9. After you do that 6 to 9, do that 9 to 12 and things of that nature. So that's what I believe.
Take it step by step.
Absolutely, step by step, absolutely.
Okay. So what do those who are interested in your service need to do to contact you for bookings or anything, any other services you provide?
They can email us or they can call us. Our email is ybnormal2016@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or they can call us and it is 423-708-5617.
Okay. Great. Okay, well, you guys, if you guys are interested in anything that they have going on, the services they provide, they do motivational speaking, you're in the schools doing mentoring.
As well as outside of schools too.
As well as outside of schools. So
we have special cases special cases where a kid might be coming home from a group home or juvenile or something so we do deal with those as well.
Okay. Great.
I was exposed to a lot at an early age. So it's more so you doing bad, but you have a mental state. Kind of like how you have those people who's in the community, like that guy who can fix on cars, but he doesn't have none of the accolades, but he does everything. And that's the way I was. It was like I was good at basketball. You know, I was a pretty good athlete, but I was running with the worst of the worst. You know, you with the worst of the worst. Like a fight break out, and they're like, "Damn, you was there? Did you throw a punch?" You know, it was kind of one of those. You know, like you don't know, but you're so close you can feel it, but you don't feel it. I was one of those, and like I say, for anybody, man, just everybody matures at a different age, and I'm just blessed, you know, with different mentors and people, you know what I'm saying, took heed to what was going on, because I moved out at 16 and with my cousin. And my mom was incarcerated and out. Plus, I had a younger brother. So for me, it just was, you don't want to see somebody younger than you go through the same thing that you're already experiencing. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a matter of you making that decision. Now, granted, I didn't, do everything the right way. I took some chances on a lot of different stuff, but everybody matures differently.
So you didn't want to let yourself down, or you didn't want to let your grandma down?
For me, it was more so I wanted to break the cycle.
Right. Just for you.
Just for me personally, like not having that father figure. Mm-hmm. And then it really hit me with senior night. My mom she didn't make it. Mm-hmm. And then the person walked me out was my godfather, who's a white male, by the way. Clay Martin, he walked me out, him and my cousin. And I can remember they walked me out before, and so I went, instead of me warming up, I went back and started crying. Mm-hmm. And you realize, okay, at that point, okay, am I going to just, are you going to soak and mope, or are you going to really do something about it? Mm-hmm. And then you deal with it.
Right.
And so that was kind of the turning point.
Were you ever in a challenging place where you might go down the wrong path and just didn't, or you hung around people that you wasn't always to your best, or were you just always just a mature mind and just pretty much never was interested?
I got to this point because of my pain. So my pain pushed me to my purpose. My pain and everything that I felt, that like how Dante said, I ain't had my dad growing up, so I know what that felt like. But I didn't know what it felt like to have a father figure or a dad in my life. So I knew, okay, I'm not gonna let my kids go through this. Right. Breaking the cycle for me was the most important thing for me, because I hung around some people. Like now, I got a couple of friends that I grew up with. Some of them have been in jail. Some of them are still in jail. I think I got maybe one or two that one cuts hair, and I think another one is doing something else. I think he might be in college, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't talked to him in a minute, but I do know that that's what helped me, was that all the pain and all the things that I felt, I didn't want those things for my kids to feel. And so for me, it's like I said, I let my pain push me to my purpose, and that's what caused me to be in the position that I'm in now.
All right, cool.
All right, well, thank you guys for coming on. What events do you have going on? Coming up?
We're working on some more community outreach that we're working on. We're coming up with some ideas right now that we're trying to implement, in the coming weeks for the month of March and moving forward. And then we're actually doing some speaking things that we're working on as well, and then we're working on a curriculum so that way we'll be able to present it to the schools and people and things of that nature, because we don't want to just help just the school. We want to help all aspects of people, whether people in the workforce, whether it's people, blue collar people, or people in, teachers and things of that nature. We just want to help everybody, and that's our biggest thing, is just serving, like I said, the community in the beginning.
Gotcha. Okay, and I mean, that's another element of it, is teaching a serving mindset.
Absolutely.
Because you can gain so much just from serving.
That's what we put on this earth to do. We put on this earth to serve and help others, and so that's what we believe in. We just want to do it to the best of our ability and do it effective.
Whether you're recognized for it or not, I mean, to me, if you're giving somebody some positive information, that's a form of serving.
Right.
It's not feeding them something negative.
Right. It's never about the accolades for us. That's not what we're doing.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much.
Right, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
You guys are doing some great things, so hopefully we'll connect in the future, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Stay tuned for more positive information, and of course we got businesses we're going to be promoting. So stay tuned, everyone. Thank you.